Hi, welcome to TRG. Stick around, we've got a great episode for you today.
We're going to talk about some of the things we learned ice fishing this year, so hopefully you can learn those things too. Okay, so as you may or may not know, ice fishing is over for us this season. It was not a particularly successful season. Again, if you've been following, you'd know that. We did manage to catch something at the end of the season, the very last time out. So now we're sort of in a lull between ice fishing and summer fishing, boat fishing as some people call it. Well, we've come up with an idea for this video. So it's the top 7 things we learned this year as new ice anglers.
And just to clarify, when we say it wasn't that successful, we mean we didn't catch a whole lot of fish, but it was successful in one thing. We did learn a ton, and that's what this video is all about.
Exactly. So Brad, what was now these are in no particular order. We just sort of spitballed these 7 points, and we're going to give them to you now. So what was number 1?
I would say number 1 is location, location, location. We found when we were going out at the start, we didn't know anything about the lake we were going on. We knew which lake we would go to, but we didn't really put any thought into how deep we were fishing, where the access points were, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we learned that you got to know the depths. You got to know, first of all, even before the depths, you got to know where to go to get onto the lake. So where the boat ramp or some sort of, a couple of times, you know, we knew the people who lived on the lake, so we accessed the lake through their property. But you can spend a lot of the time driving around looking for the access point. And then again, like Brad said, the depths and where on the lake you can catch fish.
Yeah, and this becomes even more important when you're like us, just showing up in a vehicle and you have a sled and you're walking out to where you're going. If you had a 4-wheeler or a snowmobile and you could just whip around, then maybe the access point isn't quite as much, but it is a lot of work sometimes to get all the gear together and walk out there. Sometimes the snow is pretty deep, especially in the middle of the winter. So you don't want to be walking all that far. It's really important to get onto the lake somewhere close to where you plan on fishing.
Yeah, so that's point number 1. Point number 2, or second thing we learned, is lure selection.
This was huge.
Yeah. I guess the number 1 thing, which we didn't learn or didn't try until the very last time out, was live bait. And as soon as I started using live bait, all kinds of nibbles, actually caught a fish. People said a few times to us, you know, their first question, and we've said this in previous videos, their first question to us was, do you have live bait? Do you have minnows? And they're like, no, I haven't. So yeah, that was a big one for sure.
The next one is, again, not in any particular order, but the one we have listed here is equipment backup. So if you did watch some of our videos, you do know that in one of my videos, because it's the first time I had really spooled a line, it didn't work. It didn't work out well for me. So I started to drop a line, drop a lure, and the line just started exploding off. And at first I was thinking, okay, I'm going to fix this. But it just got to the point, it was just ridiculous. That was more a throwaway rod for that day. Put it away, fix it at home, and grab a second rod that we had. So I think that's more important than you might think. If you're just going out there with 2 rods and 2 people, it's probably not a big deal, but it's something to consider, that especially for your critical equipment, having a backup is handy.
Yeah, if you've just got one and it gets messed up, it's going to be a long day, longer day than you were anticipating, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be less time with your lure in the water and more time messing around with stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And the 4th thing on the list here, Sam?
And I'm more guilty of this than Brad is.
I don't know about that. We're both kind of guilty of this.
I don't know. Still, number 4, don't be lazy. So, in other words, if you're fishing if you've gone to the trouble of, drilling the holes and you're fishing and you aren't catching anything, nothing showing up in the fish finder, move.
Yeah. This is where next year it might come in handy. We plan on getting either a electric or motorized auger.
Auger, yeah.
And it is, I mean, there's no problem with the manual augers. It actually worked great for us. But it is one of those things where if you do two and then you move and you do two more, eventually it kind of gets a little much, right? Like you don't want to do too many. We're not going to go out there and do 30 holes in a day and move all the time.
No, we're not.
With a manual auger.
No, we're old. We're not in very good shape. So we want to keep the hole drilling to a minimum if we're using manual auger.
Yeah. Number 5, fish finders are valuable.
That's for sure. So either the first or maybe even the second time out, we didn't have a fish finder, so we were going in blind. We didn't know how deep we were until we actually drilled the holes and dropped our line down. And even then, we were sort of guessing. Once we got our lines down there, we didn't even know if there was any fish going by. You couldn't see anything. So yeah, after we got the fish finder and we figured out actually how to read it, which took a little bit of getting used to as well, it helped big time.
Absolutely. And I'm never going to forget, in our introduction or introductory video, I don't remember what was edited out and what was in there, but more so than even me, Chris was thinking the whole time, we don't need fish finders. We'll never use fish finders. We're not those kind of people. After a couple of times using a fish finder, he went from, no, we're not going to use one, to, we need the top of the line fish finder.
Yeah.
He loved it. They're amazing.
I'm online looking for $3,500 fish finder. I want the one with the camera and the, sonar or whatever it is. Yeah, obviously we're not going to, at least I ain't going out and buying a $3,500 fish finder, but
they are handy.
We want a fish finder.
Yeah, and that's something to keep in mind as well. Ours was an older fish finder, like almost 20 years old. It was given to us for free, and it was amazing. Like, you don't need the top of the line fish finder. It was amazing. It was a huge help.
Gave us the information, the basic information that we needed, how deep we were, and it showed us, again, eventually when we figured out how to look at it and what it was telling us, you could see fish coming up from the bottom, and we could decipher finally between our lures and actual fish, because the fish finder would show our lures, and at the start we were thinking, oh, there's fish down there, but it was just our lures. But we eventually figured that out. Gives you good information, enough information that at least you're not going in blind like we were the first couple of times.
Absolutely. Number 6.
So number 6, kind of talking about you don't need the best of everything. Shelters. Brad went out and he bought a shelter from Costco.
Yeah, it wasn't an expensive one. I mean, it wasn't super cheap, but it was a couple $100s. And at first we were a little bit worried. Like, we had the shelter and we had the buddy heater, and we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. Mm-hmm. We were thinking, if this gets too cold, is this thing too thin? Is the buddy heater going to be warm enough? And what we found is, I mean, I think the first day out, it was minus 18 degrees Celsius, mm-hmm. maybe even close to minus 20. We were certainly out there during the year past minus 20, and never were we cold. That thing kept us warm the whole time easily.
Yeah, and we didn't even have, even on the coldest days, Brad's cat, I don't know if you can hear Brad's cat's getting in on the action here a little bit too, but yeah, that thing with that buddy heater, even on medium, it didn't even have to be turned up as high as that buddy heater will go. And it's that, you probably, well, maybe you didn't, if this is the first time you're watching us. It's not an insulated hut. It's just a normal $200 black. Oh, and there she is. No, let her on there. That's good.
Come on. You got to get down. Yeah. All right, number 7.
Number 7.
I would say, I mean, this one's probably a little bit lower on the list in terms of where I would rank them, but know the fish that you're going for. This one is particularly important for me, and it stings a little bit because the last time we went out, we went to Upper Rock Lake twice in a row. And the first time we were really going for a variety of fish. The second time, we were pretty sure we were going for splake. That's the kind of fish that were in the area. And it wasn't until after that we realized, or that we learned, splake are super picky, extremely fussy fish. Buddy. So where were we? Splake are super fussy, super picky fish. And of all of the fish, really, they're the ones that really require minnows. I think because we have a little bit of back and forth, we're going to have a little competition as we go. Stanton was doing the minnows, so I didn't want to do any kind of live bait. I just want to stick to plastics, hard plastic, soft plastic swim baits. But had I known that in advance, you probably still would have wanted to go back, but I probably would have been gunning for a different lake or a different area where it wasn't just Splake that we were going for.
Yeah, that lake in particular, one of the other guys who was on that lake told us that it's stocked with Splake, so that's what you catch most of the time if you're fishing that particular lake.
Yeah.
So now that was number 7.
That was the top 7.
That was the top 7. Just one additional thing I would add, and it doesn't have to do with fishing, but more about the YouTube side of making YouTube fishing videos, is file management. So if you're out and you're filming nonstop for 6 hours, 4 hours, depending on, some days we were out 3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes we were out 6 hours, that is a lot of data, a lot of big files that you have to manage, especially when you're using, like us anyways, 2 cameras, 2 microphones, external microphones, so it's gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of information that you have to manage, put on your computer, put into the software, edit it. Again, when it comes to Brad and I, we have to be able to access, I have to be able to access his videos from his camera. And so you need a lot of space on your computer. It's a lot to manage, and you do get better at it as it goes along.
Yeah. Another couple of other bonus things that we put on here, not part of the top 7, but don't stress if you don't get fish. So we didn't have a lot of success, as we said in the past.
No, we did not.
We had a blast, right? You've said in a couple of videos, it's better than sitting on your couch all day, or better than, just being a couch potato. It really is, you're getting out there, you're getting fresh air, enjoy the scenery, whatever it is, you're getting
talking
exercise.
to other anglers, talking to other guys who are out there and learning from them. It's, like Brad said, it's better than sitting on the couch all day.
Yeah, and take it from us. Even if you're not catching fish, you can still have fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, and then the final bonus thing, I think it's kind of goes without saying, but be safe. There are a couple of areas that we wanted to go that we just didn't go because we didn't feel like we were skilled or experienced enough yet, that are pretty dangerous areas probably if you don't know what you're doing, but we would have had more success, I think, fishing. So again, we'll probably hit those areas next year, but be safe. That's the number one thing. Ice fishing can be dangerous, so you just want to make sure that you're doing things and being safe.
Yeah, even towards the end of the season, there was, the weekend after our last time out, there was, we sort of talked about going out and maybe the ice might be okay, but maybe it might not be, and it's not worth it. We don't know enough about ice fishing to go out and confidently go out on ice that may or may not be 100% safe. So if you're not 100% sure, just don't do it.
So that's it. That's our first top 7 that we can come up with. This is our first year ice fishing, and these are some of the biggest lessons learned that we've come through and we've learned over the last couple of months, and hopefully this helps you.
So this is going to be the first of a 2-part video. Again, like I said, we're trying to bridge a gap between the ice fishing and the boat fishing or summer fishing. So part number 2 is going to be about our summer fishing gear. We've been doing a little bit of shopping recently, getting ready for boat fishing, and we're going to share some of the things that we bought. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.